What's up, everyone? Kevin Allen here, aka the Geek from DFS Army. It's NFL Week 16, and this is your DraftKings first look. Now, the NFL's throwing a curveball at us this week with a monster. Oh, I got the Sunday one, but with a monster 10-game slate on Saturday, Christmas Eve, which of course will be followed by a 3-game slate on Sunday. So a lot of football action. There's a Saturday night game. There's a lot going on this week. And we had some injuries. We got some quarterback situations happening right now. So let's break it all down. And as you guys know, we're going to go through each position group, take a look at these games, look at the position groups, see who's live, and then come up with, an early lineup that we'll see how it does at the end of the week. It's funny. Last week on the first look, I was all over Ramondre Stevenson because I did the first look before he got hurt on Monday night. Then he gets dinged up, but he winds up smashing anyway. But we've got some other situations like that, some all-in, some injuries that we're going to take advantage of. But let's go through the game tiles here real quick and just see what stands out. So a couple of interesting things I noticed in just looking at the games, the Saturday slate. Bills at the Bears, just an oddly low total here at 41.5. That for a Bills game, maybe there's some weather concerns, but it's way too early in the week to really be thinking about weather, although I assume there will be weather issues in Chicago. There always are. But 41.5 point total. So I don't know. That game still looks good to me. I think the Bill side should be fine, but the low total is a little concerning. Can't say enough. Yeah, it's a little concerning. Saints at the Browns, the lowest total game of the entire season here, 32.5 point over under. Again, I probably want to go and bet that over just because 32.5 is really, really low for an NFL game. And there's no real injuries to either of these teams to make us overly concerned, but that's a weird one for me. Browns are at home, 3-point favorites, whatever. Texans at the Titans, 38.5 point total on this one. A couple of spots of interest here. Again, passing offenses do really well against the Titans, so I think we can go right back to those Texans pass catchers in that game. And of course, on the Titans side, Derrick Henry, sets up incredibly well as a heavy home favorite. This feels like maybe Derrick Henry week. December for Derrick Henry. Juiciest game on the slate here is Seattle at KC, 48.5 point total. Kansas City's at home here. What's not to like about this one? High total game, 2 decent offenses. So, yeah, we'll be all over that one. Giants at the Vikings, an indoor game. That's always nice. 47.5 point total. Vikings, 3.5 point home favorites. Giants games don't tend to score a ton of points, but I'm going to be interested in that game regardless, just because, the 47.5 point total and the cheapness of a lot of the pieces in that game. Bengals at the Patriots, low scoring affair, 39.5. So, not going to be super excited about that one, but a game that does interest me. Remember Lions at home. Lions at home tend to produce these high scoring affairs. In this case, they're up against the Panthers, 44.5 point total. I'm sorry, they're on the road, so I misread that, but probably a little less good actually with them on the road, but at least Carolina at home is more likely to generate some offense. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on DJ Moore. Falcons at the Ravens. That one's got a 37.5 point total. Oof, gross. And honestly, hell no, right? We're going to stay away from that game. Hell no. There's nothing good about it. Commanders at the 49ers. Again, I do not like the Washington side. That 39.5 point total is gross. Eagles at Dallas. Oh, man. What a shame. So this one was going to be an exciting game to build around this week. But the Eagles lost starting quarterback Jalen Hurts, most likely, which leaves us with Gardner Minshew, who is kind of fun, but I don't know, on the road at Dallas for his first game, it's a little less fun than it would have been with Jalen Hurts. But I'm going to have some interest in Minshew just because he's sub 5K on DraftKings, and you got to be interested in super cheap quarterbacks, especially for a team like the Eagles that can score really quickly. So, yeah, we're going to get some Gardner Minshew exposure this week. No question. Let's see here. And, yeah, that about does it for the early slate. So, let's flip over to the DraftKings screen here and go position by position and see what we can get figured out. And of course, the quarterback position is always king and a good place to start. So Josh Allen priced the highest at Chicago. I don't mind that, of course. Pat Mahomes at Seattle. It's probably the play. I'd be super interested in Mahomes in this spot, to be honest. Although Seattle could be run on, but I love Mahomes here, so he might be our guy. But let's go through the rest of them and see. Justin Fields against Buffalo. I like Justin Fields. He's got massive upside every single game, but not as much as, Mahomes. So I like Justin Fields, but let's not go crazy. I still prefer Mahomes. Joe Burrow at New England, not a great spot. Cousins at home against the Giants, okay. All right. Price is okay. Prescott against the Eagles, all right. Watson in the lowest total game of the year, no thank you. But Geno Smith on the road at KC, this is an interesting spot, 5,800. If the Seattle will fall behind, and they're probably going to have to be throwing a lot. There's a couple of cheap pieces that we can stack up with Geno, with Tyler Lockett out, Marquise Goodwin becomes really interesting. Of course, DK Metcalf becomes pretty much a premier play this week. So I'm interested in Geno Smith for sure if I'm paying down at the quarterback position. Daniel Jones, okay. Not in love with it, but playable, I would say, if we need some salary relief. Brock Purdy, again, not going to get too excited about him. He's been playing fine, though. And, yeah, I just think they'll still continue to go to Christian McCaffrey primarily. In that one, Heineke, no. Wentz, no. Sam Darnold, can you imagine? I mean, he's so bad. But, I mean, if he's ever going to have a good game, this is it. So, I don't know. Do with that what you will, but probably won't go there. A bit too far for me. So, let's plug in Pat Mahomes here and go from there. All right, next position group. Let's take a look at defense. And I'm going to start at the bottom and work our way up and see if we can figure out what the cheapest viable defense this week might be. Bears, no. Seattle, no. Eagles, no. Panthers, if we have to. Commanders, no. Texans, no. Cowboys, maybe. So Cowboys now facing Gardner Minshew and the Eagles. Okay, that's interesting. Patriots at home. Okay. Saints, sure. Chiefs. Atlanta at Baltimore. I do like this spot. This is a little bit of a pay up. Atlanta with Des Ridder, he's a rookie and he doesn't look that great. So I think that's a playable spot. You could always play defenses against Houston. So Titans would be in play, but I'm not looking to pay all the way up. Browns, I guess. I don't understand the low total on that game. I got to figure that out. Washington, 49ers, definitely interesting, and Bills. But let's go for the cheapest viable defense that we can feel comfortable with. And for that, I am going to go with, I think we go with Dallas here against Gardner Minshew. I don't love it, but I like it. And I think it's good enough, 2,600. If we had to go all the way down, I think we can even get away with something. I had one all the way down at the bottom here, like Panthers at home. I think we can get away with that if we need to spend a little bit less. All right, let's take a look at the running back position this week. Once again, we'll start at the top, and we'll work our way down from there. So, yeah, Christian McCaffrey, good spot against Washington. No backup there. Love Derrick Henry. As a matter of fact, I almost think you have to plug in Derrick Henry against Houston. 8,600 is a little bit expensive, so, we'll keep that in mind. Barkley has yet to pay off on his massive salary like all season. I'm just not playing him. Nick Chubb in a very, very low total game. Again, highly unlikely to pay off on his salary. Dalvin Cook, same deal. I just don't love it. I do like Ramondre Stevenson here. He's just such a beast, gets so much work. So he's of interest, but I do want to take a closer look at the usage this past week, what they did in terms of Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris. But if Ramondre is going to get all the looks at home for the Patriots, I think that's a good spot. Tony Pollard, playable, but not my favorite. Mixon, no. Kamara, no. Montgomery, no. But a spot that I really do love here is Kenny Dynamite Walker. Listen, Kenny Walker is no joke. He's getting a lot of work. Last week was a tough matchup. The week before, even tougher matchup against the Rams. But now he gets sort of an easier matchup against the Chiefs. And I actually think Seattle's going to be competitive in this game. Normally, I don't like underdog running backs, but I think Seattle will be competitive. And if they're going to be competitive, Kenny Walker is going to be heavily involved. So I like Walker. I like Ramondre. It's a no to Sanders, no to Elliott. McKinnon, at this point, it's time to start to believe, I guess. I missed on McKinnon last week, and no McKinnon, no money. So McKinnon, got to play a little bit of McKinnon. So, he'll be live for the flex here. J.K. Dobbins had a good week last week, 125 yards on just 13 carries. I'm looking for more of the same. This kid's no joke. Pacheco also getting a lot of carries, but all of the touchdowns have been going to McKinnon. At some point, that's going to flip, so you got to keep playing Pacheco for the flip. Seattle, absolutely horrific against running backs. They are allowing, I think they're the worst team in the league against running back position. I have to check my points against sheet, which we have over at DFS Army, so make sure you check it out. If you're not signed up, go sign up at DFS Army. Promo code Geek, 10% off. What? We're crushing it across all sports as we speak. Swift, no. Swift got a bunch of targets this past week, but man, he is a disappointment machine. He really is. I just cannot deal with him. Robinson, no. Foreman, no. Gibson, no. Algier, no. Somebody won the million with Algier this past week. Like, what? One-off lineup. Imagine that. Yeah, that's about it. So, you know what? The running back group is pretty tight here. I'd say, aside from Henry and Walker, I'm interested in McCaffrey, Ramondre, McKinnon. I mean, let me know if you've got some other running backs you're interested in this week, but that's it for me. I think it's going to be a small group. And based on that group, we're going to have to pay down at wide receiver to make it work. So I think we're going to find some pay down wide receivers that bring it all together. Tight end as well, although with Mahomes, you kind of like to get a little Kelsey action in there, but I'm not sure we'll be able to pull that off. So one interesting player, let's talk tight end here since we're here. So Kelsey, obviously a great stack with Mahomes, and if it's affordable, something I always try to do, but I did notice that a lot of the really good lineups with Kelsey, you almost have to double tight end these lineups because you need that second 3K player to make it work. And a lot of times the cheap tight ends are those 3K tight ends. So something else to keep in mind, but it's going to be really, really tough to pair Mahomes with Kelsey this week. So what are you going to do? Right? Mark Andrews is interesting because if Lamar Jackson comes back, Mark Andrews is kind of underpriced for his role with Lamar. So let's keep an eye on that. I don't like him with Huntley, but if Lamar comes back, I'm interested. Hawkinson, a little overpriced for his recent production. Cole Kmet, no. Joku. I don't mind Schultz here at 4,200, but if I'm picking up a tight end, I probably want to pay down a little bit. Johnson had the big week last week as well. Let's see what Chig did. 5 more targets. This is very consistent, 5 to 6 targets a week. The price has come up, 3,500, starting to get to that level where we really need more than 10 fantasy points. You need really 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15 fantasy points to keep you on track. I think Chick can get us there. Noah Fant is really interesting as well as part of this Seattle game that I'm really wanting to get a lot of exposure to. He gets about that same 4 to 5 targets that Chig gets most weeks. Bellinger's okay. Again, a 3 to 5 target kind of a guy. Nothing special. Logan Thomas, Akins. None of the rest of this looks that good. So pretty turtly here at the tight end position across the board. I could see Dallas Goedert coming back and having a great game with Gardner Minshew. God lineup. We did that last year. Made a ton of money. Goddard. What the hell? Gardner to Goddard last year won millions when Gardner played. So I can't even say it. But I'm going to plug Chig in here for now. He's been a pretty comfortable sort of plug and play, 5-target, cheap tight end. The price has come up, but it's not scaring me off just yet, but this might be the last week. He has another decent game. They'll pump him up to 3,900 or 4K and ruin it. They always ruin it. All right, let's talk wide receiver. So I mentioned before that I think we're going to have to get some low-priced wide receivers in our lineup. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the wide receiver list and work my way up rather than vice versa. And a couple of names of interest here. Aguilar, 6 targets last week, 10 targets the week before. He's 3K. I mean, that's cheap targets right there. It's cheap. Cheap targets. I'll take them. We keep him in mind, Aguilar. I never like playing Aguilar, but we keep him in mind. Last week we played some Rashid Shaheed, and he did fine. 4 targets, 3 receptions, got a touchdown. Another player I think to keep in mind. Noah Brown had a smash week last week with Dallas. Wow, right? 9 targets, 22 fantasy points, nuts lineup, all that good stuff. We're going to have to use some of these cheapies. Richie James Jr., 5 targets, 9 targets the week before. He's been doing okay. This could be a spot to maybe get a little something, a little taste. My first wide receiver, though, that I want to plug in here is DJ Shark. DJ Shark, did we forget that this guy has been pretty good? So 21, 14, 7, 6. I mean, the targets aren't huge, but they've been there for him. 6 targets. He's a deep threat. I don't mind plugging him right in. My favorite pay down option this week is going to be Marquise Goodwin. And not that he's been this target machine, but Tyler Lockett is out, and Marquise Goodwin's going to be on the field a lot against KC with a Seattle team that needs to throw the football. So I'm going to plug him in this one as well. We're going to try to get some, I said it in the beginning, you're going to get low-cost wide receivers. Got to figure out who they are and get in on it. KJ Osborne had the monster week, 16 targets. What? Are you kidding me? KJ Osborne is playable. I know it feels like a chase, and it is, but my argument is, hey, the team threw to him a bunch, and it worked last week. Why would you stop doing something that worked? Maybe they'll do it again. I don't know. Worth a shot. So I like KJ Osborne as well. You can plug him in. We're down to the flex, but I want to continue to talk through the wide receiver position a little bit here and see what else we can come up with. So working our way up. Another name, a couple other names here that are going to be interesting. Chris Moore, we can go right back to that against Tennessee. That is an elite matchup. I can plug him in as well over any one of these players. Drake London had a pretty decent week last week. 11 targets, 12 targets the week before. He is getting peppered with targets for whatever that's worth, even if it is Des Ridder. We keep him in mind as well. Slayton in this matchup against the Vikings is playable. DJ Moore against Detroit, very playable. Very much in play. So let's swap in DJ Moore here. Let's take a look at his target numbers. But yeah, 5 or 6 targets. The targets have not been that great, but his salary is low. And this is a team where Carolina might need to be throwing a little bit against Detroit. It's not as easy to run on Detroit as people think. Where were we? Oh, yeah. Continuing on and just kind of rolling up the wide receiver group. Juju Smith-Schuster had a better week than people think last week. 10 for 10, 17 fantasy points. I'll go right back to Juju Smith-Schuster. And as a matter of fact, since we have a Mahomes lineup, that is a preferred approach for me. So we got Goodwin, Osborne, and Schuster here. I want to continue to run through the wide receiver position, though, and just kind of get some thoughts on some of these other ones. Olave, part of this horrible game. Super low. McLaurin, no. Ayuk, no. Devontae, no. T. Higgins, no. Metcalf, though. So I'm going to have a lot of interest in Metcalf this week. Again, with Tyler Lockett out, it seems like Metcalf by default in a game, that's going to require a lot of throwing of the football. So I'm all about DK Metcalf here. CeeDee Lamb playable again. Amon-Ra, let's go right back to Amon-Ra. All about it. This week as well. So, and of course, Justin Jefferson at the top. Like, how do you not have a lineup with Jefferson, Chase? So there's a lot of good studs here. Chase, Jefferson, Diggs is fine. Amon-Ra, I really like the stud zone DK Metcalf and up looks really, really good. So yeah, be nice to be able to afford some of these guys. But obviously, even with a fairly conservative initial approach, that's not working. Now, there is a way to make it work. And that's by punting the quarterback position. So if I'm comfortable getting off Mahomes and say, hey, pay down, note that the middling range for quarterback is pretty bad. But if we're willing to go to Minshew, it opens up Justin Jefferson. So I don't know. But for now, for this one, I'm going to leave Mahomes in there, keep it a little more generic, and we'll fill out our final spot. Did I talk through the tight end? Yes. Running back? Yes. Defense? Yes. So all we have to do is fill out our flex, and we are good to go. How about pairing up McKinnon with Pat Mahomes? Like, let's not make that same mistake a third time. Juju, McKinnon, double stack with Mahomes. Cowboys defense going up against Gardner. All right. Marquise Goodwin. No Tyler Lockett. So Goodwin should get elevated targets. KJ Osborne coming off the smash. High total game. Chig Okonkwo, again, 5-6 targets, pretty much locked in every week. As long as Trey Burks remains out, that's the spot. Pat Mahomes, obviously the GOAT. Derrick Henry and Chig, a little bit of let's call it a little bit of correlation, secondary stack correlation. We got Kenny Walker going up against Mahomes. So got some game stack action, got some secondary stack action going on in this one. I'm excited about it. Really solid lineup. DraftKings NFL Week 16. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. We've got the week in review. Make sure you check that out where we back test you the Dom Station Optimizer, do all of our back testing. I'm also doing a bankroll building challenge. And if you guys want to follow along with it, it's really fun. It's a sports betting bankroll building challenge where I'm trying to go from $1,000 using $100 unit sizes to 5,000. So I'm trying to 5x my money, but in a conservative way. And hopefully if we get to 5K, we'll pull all the funds out and do it again. So if you want to follow along with that, I'm giving out the plays in advance. You can take a look here at my bet tracker. We're doing pretty good so far. We're 13-7-2. We've gone from 1,000 up to 1,664 $100 unit size. So we are up 64% in our first week. These are all track bets. I give them out in Sharp app, in the Sharp app Discord, and of course, through these videos, the Bankroll Building Challenge videos. You can go back and check them out right here on the DFS Army YouTube channel. So make sure you're like, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time on another First Look.